The Stock of the Day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. With over 17,000 markets and extended trading hours, turn US earnings season volatility into opportunity. Get started at IG.com.
So WiseTech is the stock of the day today. It is at the Macquarie conference, which has become a little bit of a confession season, mini confession season over a few days. So WiseTech today is flagging potential demand risks from trade tariffs, saying they could pose headwinds for the company this year. WiseTech expects container volumes globally to be down around 1%. And last week, WiseTech confirmed media speculation that it's in advanced talks to acquire a supply chain software company called E2open, which is New York listed. So the stock of the day, WiseTech Global. I mean, Rudi, this shouldn't come as any big shock that WiseTech is flagging it may be impacted by a slowdown in global trade.
No, and for all the value investors out there, trading on a PE of 66 clearly is not such a big problem, because just imagine if you were a micro cap or a small cap technology stock and you issued that profit warning, I'm willing to bet that the share price would be down a lot more. Two things work in WiseTech's favor. One is, of course, the share price has already come down quite a lot. And the other thing is that, which I am still convinced as well, if you take a longer term view, this remains one of the prime growth stories on the ASX. So it becomes a case of what's your horizon, how long are you willing to stay on board, and how confident are you in a company's forecasts and outlook, which I guess is the blueprint for everything in the share market. I mean, not everyone is going to issue a profit warning. I mean, there are companies out there that ResMed, Woolies, Coles, they're not ready for issuing profit warnings, but a lot of others will, and I think you can't always avoid them because sometimes they literally come out of left field. So then the question becomes: are you still confident in what comes next? Is this the main news? Do you say goodbye to those shares, or do you stay on board and maybe possibly buy even more? I'm on board, and I'm not quitting.
You're holding. You're not adding.
Well,
because there is a bit of execution risk if this E2open acquisition goes ahead.
And there is still, don't underestimate, there is still a risk that the outlook can still deteriorate, and the other thing is they are still working towards the launch of two very important new products, and that always contains risk as well. I mean, containing risks, I had a much larger exposure last year. Share price was also a lot higher as well. But being aware of the risks, I simply reduced my exposure, but I'm still there. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that is also one way of dealing with risk. But I would definitely, if you're on board, I would definitely not say goodbye, on the premise that you are confident that in years to come, this share price will move higher. If you're not on board yet, as per always, the weakness is there maybe to your advantage. Just pick your point, pick your confidence level.
WiseTech, what's your view?
I think Rudi is saying buy, but he's been careful because he's already got it. But anyway, I would call it more of a neutral, more of a hold. I think a lot of companies this year, and Rudi's kind of alluded to already, they're going to come out, and they've got plenty of reason to do so. I mean, WiseTech have come out and said containers travel down by 1%. I think that's almost optimistic. I mean, things have been far worse in the last few weeks.
I didn't think that sounded very bad.
No, I think 1%. I think okay. I mean, that's obviously banking on
when you hear
Trump
that the Port of LA is down by 30% already.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how I thought. 1%. Okay. There's a few things going on here. It's a quality, wonderful company. But the problem is, obviously, we know there's been a lot of changes with the CEO, a 70-year-old, very, very intelligent man. Rudi and I were talking about him beforehand. I've never met the man, so I can say he's very, very smart. A few personal issues have crept on board. And all I'm saying, that makes me wonder, okay, looking forward, would you pay the same valuation for this great company as you might have done 2 years ago? And my gut feel says probably not. So hence I can see some of the weakness coming in that we're getting. I mean, if you call that a profit warning, as Rudi said, down 3%, that's really neither here nor there. It's what we've seen, the NASDAQ was struggling last night, it was down 1% or whatever it was, so it's hardly really moved. And I think that's telling you it's because it's already come back a long way. So, I'm a big believer taking risk on the off the table, as Rudi alluded to, into a lot of strength you can sell a bit, into the weakness you can buy a bit, assuming the core thematic is you like the stock. So if you do like WiseTech, these are the sorts of levels on the back foot where you would be accumulating. Right here, right now, I'd call it more of a neutral, mainly because there are other stocks I prefer in the sector.
Got it. Clear as mud. All right, thank you guys. That's the stock of the day, WiseTech Global. I'm calling it a solid hold. You could have a nibble if you're not in it already.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Turn volatility into opportunity this US earnings season with extended trading hours on over 110 key US shares. Get started at IG.com.